Hey everyone, happy Friday. Let me get all get rid of the waiting room. It's hard to believe it's already Friday. It's been a crazy week for us. Crazy. Oh, now let me see if I can actually get my webcam. Of course not. Okay, so all right. I will switch to straight up me or not. How's everyone doing today? Happy Friday. Already got a like on YouTube. Awesome. Thank you. Hey, Jesus. Connie, if you're talking, you're muted.
No, I'm not talking.
Oh, okay. Sorry. It was just focused on you, so I thought maybe you were talking.
Good morning. Thank you.
Is it cold down there?
It's warmed up finally. I've got cabin fever. I was housebound for several days.
I was just telling Ryan, the guys, it's been 4 or 5 days since I've left the house, and yeah, I'm with you.
For those that don't know, we had a huge ice storm in the area, so none of us are equipped to drive on icy roads.
Yeah, but it's more have the skill, let alone equipped. Okay.
I've done it in the past, but there was no reason to make the risk.
Right.
The biggest problem now is we've got the rice. We have lots of broken limbs all over everywhere. So the trick is going to be how to dispose of the trash.
Yeah. I see people here in YouTube chat saying hi. Hi, everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Say this. Exana 777 SMTE.
Have you made any progress with Escalada on the UIA?
Yeah, actually,
that's a very good question.
Yeah.
We actually let me change my display setting so that it's a little bit easier on the eyes, right?
Yeah. We've been doing that in our videos, but I hadn't thought about it. It's just as relevant.
In the live go, right?
Just makes it easier.
UI automation. Let's go ahead and share my screen real quick. In the live go, right?
Just makes it easier. Someone needs to mute.
UI automation. Let's go ahead and share my screen real quick.
Someone has their speakers up.
Working on this very often, and this is what it looks like right now. In the live go, right? Maybe if we could mute Anthony. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
So the point right here is that even though it looks similar when you start capturing, what you will notice now is that their path that he's using is a little bit different than what you're used to. And if I go ahead and open up something that has a longer path, you will notice that the path right now just is, it looks like a random string. So right now, instead of thinking of it as a path, I'm thinking of it as an ID. This is the ID of that control in a way of getting there. Now, if we change that to, for example, the numeric path, you will notice that it is 1144. So now the problem with this approach with the numeric path, we have been speaking about it, the path might change. He gave me very good examples of when that happens. He was designing something a little bit different, which was the condition path. And you will notice that I am able to kind of like switch between them now. And now this was the other idea that he was having, but the problem is that this produced very long strings. Right now, it's just 4 items that we're going through. So if you see the numeric, it's just 4 items that we're going through. But in his condition path, it is a very long string just for that. So we came up with the idea of having something way shorter than this. And that's where he came up with this kind of like an ID is what it looks like. To me, instead of a path, it looks like an ID. And every time I put my mouse on top of that one, that ID is always going to be the same. So I think of it, instead of a path, it's kind of like an ID for that element. That takes into consideration its position, in its relative position, in a very concise manner. And I really like this. And again, the good thing about this is that I don't have to care about it, because if you click on it, it copies it to the clipboard. And now you can use the find element. So if you have a, let me just say UI automation, it is a UIA, and I say UI automation element by path. What? Let me see. It had element, yeah. So element from path. This is what it looks like now. You just put the path there, and it seems to be that is an array. It takes an array, so I could just have it as like this. So now this is my path, and I could have different paths or different. I don't know how he's going to be handling this. You can have so it looks like it is just as one like that, and you could put a second path here and a third path there. So in this case, I think is a very interesting way. Now that should return an element that then we can do all the automation that we have been doing. So I really like this, and I think if I remember correctly, you could do the same just by using the path right here. So you could just get an element like this, you see? So this makes it way easier for us to deal with paths, in the sense of, yeah, if I don't have an element that doesn't have a name or an automation ID or anything, I could use the path for it. And the syntax for doing so is really good. It's really simple. It's very straightforward. And I just have to click here. If the path changes for whatever reason, then I just open my viewer, click on that, and I'm good to go. Does that make sense? Which, by the way, Connie, in the program that you are automating, you have the same issue, that the element that you want to get does not have a name or an automation ID, and you will have to use a path. Yeah, this is exactly how you would use it. You would have to point at the UIA viewer, get the current path like that, and then just get the element to click on it. So it is basically an improvement, because everything is simpler for us to just follow on that. So yeah.
Is that available now?
Yes. So let me share
That's what
my
I was going to
screen.
ask.
It is, but at the same time, I think he's still updating it. So
yeah, so I
just
think
wanna wait.
I definitely would wait, because it is on an alpha stage. I don't know if you remember AutoHotkey V2 when it was in alpha stage, that you got used to certain language features and then it just got completely changed. Basically, right now, this library is in alpha stage. Everything that we're talking about right now might change tomorrow. And as I mentioned, like, if I look at his code, he made changes today. So
Right.
he was working on that right this morning. So I would definitely, I can point you to where it is. The only thing is that you have to keep in mind, anything you're doing with it might change in a
Having said that, that doesn't preclude you from actually downloading it and having it in its own spot, and it'll always work. Like that version, if you download the library and keep it there and keep it with that script,
if
you're
you
fine.
don't update it, right? If you
Yeah.
don't update it,
It's
right?
it's when you go to update and like, oh crap, now suddenly things changed and even disappeared. Like we noticed one thing was just,
Well, for example, for example, before you had UI automation find by path. Okay, so that was the name of the function, find by path. Now, as of this morning, that would break. Now you have to use UI automation dot element from path. So again, this is the problem with using something. So, and if you take a look at his history, that's one of the things. Change find by path to element from path. And that is this is the problem with alpha releases, is that something that works perfectly fine right now might change from one. So now when he has it in beta stage, those changes should not happen anymore. Not that drastically anymore. But I would definitely just keep that in mind. So if you go to GitHub, and you find Descolada's UI automation.
Yeah, we have a pretty link for it.
Oh, right. Yeah, as well. Actually. Yeah, maybe we have it somewhere.
UIA
So,
underscore interface. Yeah, I'll throw it
think
into both chats.
yeah. UIA underscore interface.
Unfortunately, OBS again wasn't letting me have my webcam.
No,
up.
but this is the thing. I think that you sent is not the correct link. This is just linking to the forum post, but
Yeah,
I don't think
forum post links to the Git, doesn't it?
but that's the problem. It's linking to the V1, if I remember correctly. So I don't think we have one for the
No,
V2.
I thought he linked to both of them.
Let me see. Hold on. This is the UI automation. Let me see. No, this is the
I
V1.
can't just go to his.
Yeah, so you would have to go back to Descolada's, and then you have to look for UIA V2 right here. Right. And this is the one that, yeah, this is the one that I'm using right now. That's the one that I'm.
But again, we wouldn't right now develop with it.
No, I'm
Fun
just
to play
waiting
with.
for him. Right.
Yeah.
No, look at that. 2 hours ago. He's just right now working on it. So anything you do with it might break.
Well,
very
look at the one
quickly.
above it. Rename traverse tree to walk tree. Like,
Yeah, that's a
opening.
breaking change, right?
Yeah.
That's a breaking change. So those are breaking changes. So right now this is in alpha development, which I would recommend you using it right now. After when he says, "Hey, the syntax is already locked down, so the changes that he's going to be making is just for fixing bugs," then I would use it. But for now, I have it because I'm testing it, but as I mentioned, yeah, everything changes from one moment to another, so I wouldn't really use it for now.
Well, I'm perfectly happy to have you guys wait and help me with it when it's a little more stable. Mainly, I don't know whether you've seen on the Hero, I've had some help to see if I'm trying to come up with proof of concept to make sure that we're headed in the right direction. I have a feeling that when he gets it stabilized, it's going to be a real simple script to develop.
It will. They will definitely, it will simplify a lot of things. It's still, I do have to mention for anybody who is thinking about this, UI automation is not as simple as it looks. The library helps you out a lot. It simplifies a lot of things.
Fair enough.
But if you do not understand the concepts, there are certain situations in which you might get stuck, and then it's going to be really hard to understand because the UI automation library is really complex in the end. So just keep that in mind. Of course, it simplifies and helps you out a lot, but you have to.
Well, I wanted to simplify it for you because there's parts of it that I don't want to learn.
Yeah, that's for sure. I would say definitely I would go with the UI automation library in this case. Anything else would be either unreliable or really complicated to keep in mind all the things that can go wrong. So yeah.
I was talking to Zayas about it, and I said, we're at some point going to redo our intro to AutoHotkey in version 2. And actually it was in the intermediate course, excuse me, but the intermediate course, I have like 40 videos on working with controls, and controls are great because they're so simple for older programs. But now with UIA, like, I don't know if I would cover those again. I'd probably do 3 or 4, but it's good to know they're there because it's always good to know your different approaches you can use to connect to an automated program. But the UIA, it's going to be like the one gateway to almost any program. Like, it's really exciting.
That's for sure.
Or you could be like the guy who complained on my macro recorder video about is there an easier way than using a macro pullover's macro recorder that doesn't require 3 college degrees?
Right.
No,
I was like,
actually,
what?
very interesting that you pointed that out. Let me actually give you another interesting thing that is going on. He mentioned this, and well, he didn't mention it. I just happened to discover it, kind of technically, and I was so annoyed.
This for a pullover?
No, with the UIA viewer itself.
Oh, okay.
So the UIA viewer, when you have it like this, at the bottom, he has this button now to show the macro bar. So let's start capturing, and let's get this button right here. So let's get this guy. Now, again, this is something that people don't understand that you can do. After you capture, I stopped with the escape key, and now you can actually just go and click on this view and refer to the actual thing that you want to click. Because sometimes when you're capturing, you might get here, you stop, and you will notice that you got the text one here at the bottom, and that's not what you want. I want the item itself. So just know that you're not limited to just point and clicking. If you need more fine control, you can go down here. And now the funny thing is that you can click on this show macro sidebar, and this is the action. You can click, you can control click, set focus. The interesting one is the highlight here. You select your element, you select your action and add it, and it creates the code that actually does the thing. And the funny thing now is that you go ahead and test your script, and you will see this red box there. It highlighted correctly. So if I switch that to instead have the click there, so let's click on it, add it. It should go ahead and click, which opened my run tab here on the left side. So I had the editor tab like this, but if I run my script, it actually switches to the other tab. So this is amazing because it's not only very good at finding the most information that you need, but also he's adding this macro type of thing that now you can go ahead and automate most parts of doing the work for clicking and automating stuff. So this is great. It is, again, tricky. It is very simple. The problem arises when things don't work as you expect. If you don't have an understanding of how UIA works and how things, you might get really confused with this library. But he's trying to make it into a very simple to use UIA tool. So I definitely recommend this library. I am going to be using it a lot as soon as I feel that it's more stable. So yeah, I just wanted to show you that one too.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually I need to reach out to Pullover and ask him if he has any plans to adjust his macro recorder to V2. I'm not saying he'll write it in V2, but adjusting the code to where it'll work in V2 shouldn't
The
be
syntax, yeah. The syntax creator, right?
When I talked to him a couple of years ago, it was the #1
request
forum thread, out there. Like it's the most downloaded and visited forum thread. But yeah. Anyway.
Did you hit 8,000 yet?
I don't know. Should be close. Oh no,
I would have been checking like every hour.
Yeah, I need 2 more. Who's here that's not a subscriber? Click subscribe.
be the final 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, big year for both of us. I hit 3,000, you hit 8,000. So my new goal is 5,000 by the end of the year.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Just when I know you know that, but subscribers, like it's kind of crazy because you're like, okay, I have 8,000 subscribers, and I'm like, and I usually get, let's say, around 200 views on average, right? I'm like, what percent? Like, yeah, subscribers, and most of my views don't come from subscribers.
Yeah, same.
Like, yeah, it's just, to me, it's a metric, but it's not the end all be all metric, right?
So I don't know if you want to try something. I know it's good and bad for depending on the people. If I have a script that's really long, I post the code, But something I've come to realize is people, they'll sit there and ask a question. And I'll be like, okay, clearly you did not watch the video at all.
Yeah.
You just came here through a Google search, copy and paste my code, and they're complaining like, oh, it doesn't do this, or why is it so slow? I'm like, well, if you watch the video, like multiple times, I say I purposely slowed it down so that you can see it in action. Just delete the sleeps, adjust the sleeps. Here's how you do it. But they'll ask the question. I'm like, clearly you didn't even watch the video.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So my last video, I didn't post the code at all. And it almost doubled my view time.
Oh,
On the
interesting.
video because they were forced
Right.
to watch it now.
Right.
So I'm kind of experimenting with that to see how it goes.
Yeah.
Now, if it's
Yeah,
something like
that's an
super
interesting
long,
thing.
I'll post it.
Sure.
But yeah.
Well, the one thing I realized was we well, almost anything that we share that it's decent, we put the URL up, but we were putting up at the very beginning. I'm like, I should be putting that at the end, right?
Yeah.
To-
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. But yeah,
I'll
that's
hide it somewhere in there. But yeah, no, I've realized, I've gotten so many people who come and they're like, I can do this faster than your code runs. I'm like, well, yeah, like 5 times in the video, I purposely say, I put a bunch of like 5-second sleeps in there so you can see it in action versus
Right.
blink. What did it just do?
Right.
By the way, on a relative note, I had a call the other day with Mukesh Twane. He works with Selenium a lot, and he has like 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, right? So we're going to do a couple collaborative videos. What was funny is we were using his Zoom meeting room, and he has a free account. So at 45 minutes, it cut out. And when we came back on, I was talking about it. I said, it's really interesting, but as a productivity trick, like that's actually not a bad thing to limit your meetings to a shorter time to make sure you get it, because you'll get whatever you need done in that time, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, it's for us in particular, it's a good tip to say, don't set your meetings, for an hour, set them for 45 minutes or set them for
You're
20.
not going to get any more done in an hour than you could be in 45 minutes
Exactly.
if you knew you had that target.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
You tend to expand into the space that,
That's for sure.
And actually, and the reverse of that, guy, if you don't like write something down and book time for it, then you don't do the stuff.
Correct.
And that's where like learning AutoHotkey, I tell people put at least an hour a day or something on your calendar and put on your calendar and do it. And then you'll actually start learning it. Because
I find it with clothes. I don't like tight clothes, but every time I buy loose clothes, I tend to expand and then become tight again.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
Quick question for you. Do you want a question?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So, that there's like the mail to, where in the Windows dialog, it'll launch your default email browser.
Mail too. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, kind of
Geo.
HTML.
Yeah.
link.
I
Yeah.
heard something else. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You got a filthy mind, Raptrix.
Yeah.
So, is there a command that I can pass a parameter like a phone number to the default phone dialer?
Yeah. Sure.
And what is it?
I think it is exactly phone, like phone. Let me see. Hold on.
And what's the syntax? How would
Or-
I launch
Yeah,
it?
let me
with a phone
show
number?
you. Let me show you. If I remember correctly.
Congratulations, Joe, on
Yeah,
8,000.
yeah. All right, I'm going to bed. See ya. No.
End of his
Yeah.
career.
Yeah. Like this is where we stop. So those are called oh wow, the name just escaped me.
Well, I was just thinking about that.
Protocol. This is the phone protocol.
You know where I would find it, Guy, simply
Yeah.
is do like a QR code, because the QR codes have that as one of the options, and in it you'll see what they use
Yeah,
as the URL.
Yeah, it is a very simple.
And what do I do? Just send
Yeah,
it to
tell.
a command line?
Here
How
it
do I
is.
launch it?
No, I'm gonna show you. I'm just
Okay.
gonna show
So,
you.
and while that's happening, a quick query, your version 1 to version 2 course, Joe, which I really want to do, is it, there's different prices there, like full price, half price, whatever. Is there, is that one price, or do heroes have another price, or is that the
No,
hero?
well, the heroes, you should know this by now, Guy. You always have a coupon code, which is just for heroes. that gets you 25% off of whatever. So just use your coupon code to, you know, on checkout.
Okay. I'll have to find out. I don't. The next meeting, let me have that coupon code, or I'll look for
Just
it.
go to the page that has all the, you know,
Yeah.
the page where there's all the
It's always there.
hero meetings that you know, all the recorded stuff at the top
Yes.
of the page, I believe is where it's there. You can always find it.
Awesome. Thank you very
So
much.
look at this. The only thing that you have to do is use the tell protocol like this. Check this out. And I'm using AutoHotkey V2 code right here, just in case you guys don't recognize it. But basically, you use the tell protocol, and then you just put the phone number that you want to dial. When you do that, it will launch your default application for phone if you have it configured.
Right.
If you don't, in my case, I don't have it configured. It asks you, hey, how do you want to open this? You can always try something like this. Let me try it
I
out.
get that. That's a Windows SIM system that I know.
Right. There it is. So it actually just points the same to whatever it is, but the protocol is the tell protocol, and that you can do even in links. If you have HTML and your HTML,
Yes, in HTML, I know, I'm aware of that. It's just the code
that's the
bit.
thing. So any of those protocols that you use in HTML, if you use the run command on them, you will get this. It will force the computer to try to open it with one of the apps.
Now, what happens if I have two possibilities? I have, well, actually, I've got three ways I can make a call on my computer. Two VoIP applications and one link.
It will open like this. It would ask you what to do. The only thing is
can I force it to ask what to do, or can I direct it towards a specific one?
Well, just
don't have a default.
No, so then just say Skype.exe and pass it the parameter. I think Skype would understand what to do with that. Maybe I'm not sure. I'm not saying that that's how it goes, but I would definitely assume that is something that happens. Let me see. There it is.
Okay.
Now I just forced Skype to open with that. So the point is, if you
because there's phone link as well.
Right. So if you try phone link, whatever the thing is, whatever the executable is, I would assume that if you pass it as a parameter to that executable, it should open it. And that assumption was correct for Skype. I don't know how it is for other.
I think Thomas helped me last time because phone link doesn't have an executable.
It's an app. It's the web.
It's an app.
Right.
And Thomas found a particular shortcut to use instead of the app.
I don't know if that shortcut can get parameters passed to it. But if there is a way, then that's what you have to do. Just pass it as a parameter, or just let the user decide, or let the computer of the user decide. Because if my computer, I said, no, always use Skype. I don't want your program opening phone link for me when I chose Skype. So just either let the user choose, and if they already chose to always use Skype, don't overwrite that.
Correct. Yeah.
Just
so can you reset that? Can you reset the tell parameter if you chose Skype before and then you go, oh my God, I should have chosen another program?
Yeah, the user would have to go to the settings, default apps, and in here, they would go ahead and reset whatever it is.
Find a setting, tell,
Here it is. Choose default app by protocol. That you can for different protocols, and there are many, and actually you can find out what protocols you have here. Look, big maps, call to, all of them is with the colon here. So if I say call to, right, that right now should default to Skype. So if I use the call to protocol, that should open Skype. There it is. It didn't even ask me for it. Okay. Because it was already set up in here.
So interesting that
any of these guys.
Go to tell.
I use the tell, for example, that would be down here. There are many.
Anyway, she passed it. That's it.
There it is. You see the tell?
Oh,
I
so I
don't
can
have a
choose one
default.
for Skype, and I can choose one for. Sorry, I can choose one protocol for call to, and I can
Mhm.
choose another protocol for tell.
For example, if you want to, but you can also say, for example, look at that. I could use Skype. That is a protocol here. I didn't know that that was a thing. But again, you can take a look at which things, which protocols you can use, and you can set them up or call them with the run command, any of those
Yes,
protocols,
that is
passing the
awesome.
parameter right next to it, and it should work just fine. This is
What
a
I
very
would-
cool, interesting trick, actually.
I think it'd be interesting to be able to see in the registry if we can read this, and then that would allow us to build stuff into our tool and say, hey, you know,
Definitely.
if they have a defined one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a very, actually, instead of doing
I'll give an
that,
example. When I'm making phone calls from my particular tool, I only want to use a particular app. So I'll have to not use the tell because it could be reset by the user, etc.
Well, I think any of them can be reset by the user.
yeah, they can.
It's the likelihood that they'll be reset, I think, is what you're getting at, Guy.
Yeah, or is there maybe I need to put a button in my
Well,
settings saying,
to me, see, what I would ask is, hey, how hard is it to create your own? Can you create your own and then say, when it's this, always use that program, right? Like,
Yes.
then you don't have to
Yeah.
worry about it.
Correct.
This is interesting. Huh. It's telling you, you can go to current user software classes, and each of the classes is there. The tell, the call to, dialer call to, and this is your software.
We'll make a
This is
spammer out of
interesting.
everybody in no time.
No, but this is not for spamming. This is just for changing what is your default application for that protocol. And what I was finding interesting is that you have in software classes, you can find all the protocols. So if I go to register, so if I go to, you can do the same in local machine, but I wouldn't recommend that. Current user software classes. Sorry, I just want to. So here, not only you have the extensions, which is one part, but also the protocol seems to be. So if I go to, yeah, there's the call to here, the calculator. Oh, look at that. Those are URL protocol or whatever. So, what about the tell? I think tell is about here.
There we go. Tell.
Yeah. You see?
And what's on it when you can
No,
you
nothing.
read it?
That's
Okay.
nothing there. But Skype, for example, should have something. Let me see. URL Skype doesn't have anything.
Well, can you go in? There's no data there.
No, well, let me try if it is for local machine, because current user, I haven't made any changes on that. But if I go to Skype,
Just remember, anyone watching this, if you're playing with your registry, back it up.
yeah, I don't
kill
really,
your computer.
right. So make sure you don't do anything rash with
Stupid.
this thing, right? So let me double check here, because in local computer, I do not see. Okay. So in any case, I'm gonna take a look at this. If anybody else has any other AutoHotkey questions, let's go ahead and take those while I take a look at this. But yeah,
John, are you around? Are you back? Jean was going to demonstrate his clipboard tool. Hopefully he comes
yeah, the quick edit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is a clipboard part of his
No.
app?
This is a different tool.
That's a different tool. Okay.
And it's a different tool that like 4 months ago, maybe a little longer, he had another tool. He had two tools he was working on, and then he's drastically changed everything where it's getting pretty cool. He demonstrated the other day to me. It's pretty awesome.
I do not see anything set up in here. So it is just, they are just shown here as what there is here
Available protocols,
right? So
but-
so these are the available protocols, but it seems to be that it is not here where you set the information. It seems to be that URL call to, URL tell, right? That is interesting.
I'm back.
Hey, John.
Oh,
So
there's SIP there
Everybody.
as well.
you want to give us a little overview, Jean, of your tool and what it does?
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, once I'm going to be using it a lot just from when you were demoing it the other day for me. I'm like, it's got a lot of cool stuff.
Entertain us.
Let's share my screen.
By the way, guys, I will disappear about 4 o'clock for about 15 minutes. I've got a client coming in for a bit.
So this is a beta release, work in progress. So normally it should not work completely as usual. But yeah, so I heard what you were saying. I had my headphone when I was just off. And I first had a tool that was a combination of clipboard editor and clipboard ruler, so that you could have rules that would run automatically when something changes in your clipboard. And it was just 2 different tools. So I decided to make 2 projects, and I worked first on the clipboard editor, which is something I use every day. And it came from the fact that often I have to collect some pieces of text for coding or for writing, and then I have something in the clipboard and I just need to change it before pasting it in an application where it's not convenient to do editing. So I had to paste it to a text editor, then do the changes, and then copy it. So why wouldn't it be possible to just open the clipboard and edit the clipboard and then save? So that's the kind of thing that this application is imitating, if you wish, because it's not really what's happening, but it behaves the way as if you were opening the clipboard, changing the clipboard content, and then paste. So that's this application here. So if you copy something on your clipboard, it will be automatically reflected in the editor, because actually the editor is in the synced mode. So as long as there are no changes in the editor here, what you copy to the clipboard will be reflected here. And as soon as you change something, then if I change something in the clipboard, it will not change here, because I'm currently working on what was in the clipboard a minute ago, and I change it. And when I'm ready, so I can now paste it to my target application as if it was the clipboard. For regular users, I would not do these nuances about is it the real clipboard or not. But for you who know what's behind, I'm giving you this this explanation.
Right. No,
So
but I'm surprised. Actually, I like that. The fact that you can sync technically sync, like I copy something and it gets synced. Yeah.
For now, it works only with text. So if I copy something to the clipboard, for example,
an image
that is graphic like this, so it is empty and it will show that it is binary content of 164 kilobytes, but it will not show it. And maybe in a very future release, it could work with graphic if someone joined the project and work on the graphical part of it, but it's not for now. So it's not, and it's not also for someone as if it could be for Excel content. So if you have columns in Excel in the clipboard, can you manipulate that? No, but this also could be added in a very future release. For now, I just want it to work well with text. So what we have here,
quick question on that. So,
so
once you copy from Excel, I know that it does show an image version of it, but it also has a text
also
version.
A text. Yes,
Right?
you can
you don't get that one.
Yeah, if
okay. So I can definitely, if I have text in here and you copy that, it should take the text version of that, not the image.
Yeah, if I do a quick spreadsheet here with a formula, number C2 is a formula, and I will just make the editor always on top so that we always see the changes. So if I copy this, it will be here with the tree being not a formula, but a text.
Okay, perfect.
Something as if you would use paste as text.
Exactly,
in
yeah,
Excel.
perfect.
So it can be convenient for that, but it does not allow you to change the columns in Excel
No,
format
okay, I understand. Yeah.
itself.
I have something simple that I've done similar to that I find really, really useful that I might want to show you, John, that you might want to add to yours.
Let's let him finish. He's got a lot more.
Let's feed
Oh,
it.
it's a lot. Okay, I thought that was it. Sorry, my
Oh,
apologies.
no.
Yeah, there's a lot more to show. We
Okay.
don't necessarily have the time to see everything. I'll just make an overview. But the basics is here that you have buttons here. This one will paste the content of the editor to the target application. If the target application is not active, because actually the editor is active, it will just close the editor and go back to the previous application, assuming it is an application that can receive text from the clipboard. Of course, if you are in a graphic editor, nothing will happen. So that's this button. Here, this button, I just renamed it in the latest release that I don't have here. So it's now copy. So what it does,
Right, exactly.
Previously I named it save to clipboard because that's what is happening.
Yeah.
So if I change it here and make it, for example, capital.
Copy is more intuitive, I think.
Okay. Yeah. And save was save to clipboard, but now it's copy. It copied this to the clipboard. I was just reluctant because there's also a copy command here that allows you to copy the content in the editor and paste the content in the editor with Control-C, whoops, didn't work. Oh, something.
Well, what's funny is yeah, if you're selecting that and copying what from the tool, you think it would actually replace the entire screen because you copied it.
Yeah, but because
you've isolated that.
Yeah. Because it's now in editing mode. If it was in sync mode, then it would replace the whole content. So okay, so I'll just take a note of a bug here.
Paste is not working.
Yeah, if you want something to break, let me test it. I'll break it for you.
Yeah.
He actually wants beta testers, so Guy, he'll take you up.
Okay.
Okay, I'll break it. I'll break it.
So that paste copy cancel will just cancel the changes in the editor and return to the current content of the clipboard, the real clipboard, and close will close. Now, what you have as tools to do the edits, and I'll just copy this to make an example. You have, of course, the cut and paste tools that I have to fix. You have substring that what it does, it will just keep part of each line. So let's say that I want to keep just this section here, the size of the files and the name of the file. It starts at position 33. So I will keep substring starting from position 33 to the end of the line. I could take from start, I could take from the beginning of some text. So it can be not necessarily the same position, but relative to some text that you can find with an offset if you wish. So it's all scenarios that where, especially when you work with data that you want to copy from one application to the other, and you want to remove stuff that you do not need. So for now, just from 33 to the end, it will just keep this. Yeah. And also, if you want to insert at position 5, you can insert string from position 5. And again, it could be from relative positions, and it will insert this content here. Awesome. You can also do changes only on a section of the editor. So if you use select and you uppercase, it will uppercase just this.
The selection. Cool.
Just the selection. Same thing for almost every command here. So there's find and replace, quite standard, with small bugs that I still have to fix, but you can replace all if you wish. Then sort with all sort of options. So for example, if I want to sort this by numerical, by size order descending, so I will choose reverse order and numeric values to make sure that the numbers are sorted correctly, regardless of the number of digits in the, and then you have all these other options that are available in AutoHotkey, case sensitive, sorting from a given position, from /, which is not sure if it's something I added myself, if it was a native option in, but if you have,
or would it be like a character?
if you have a path, it can be from a given character. So if I want to sort starting at the dot, for example, they will all be at the same. They are all ini, so it's not.
No, well, that one I would understand by this from position 10 characters.
Yeah, that's the number. Yes,
okay,
that's the number.
I'm not
not
understanding that as being a
that's not the text.
yeah, okay.
Something that could be added, because here it is sorting
it's
from
just by the
last backslash. So if you have a long path, it will just keep the file name in this case.
Okay, yeah, but basically it would be kind of like a if you could use a custom character or a custom set of characters, it would be interesting too.
Yeah, something that can be added. So there's a forum for suggestions, and I will build a wish list and then work on, make sure the basics is stabilized, and then work on new features.
Did you show any?
So you can also remove duplicates and do random sorting. So that's the kind of things that can be done with sort in AutoHotkey that are now available using this this dialog box. So sorting reverse order and by number, so that's done here.
I think they get it, Jean. Why don't you jump to the convert stuff?
Yeah, change case, quite basics. And this is more for coders. So let's say, for example, that you want to include this, and I will just remove what's before in a URL, and you need, and you're working with a variable, and you want to put the content of a variable into a URL. You know that you have to encode this URL or this variable, this content, in order to escape things, work. Escape %20 instead of spaces. You know what it is. So if you do encode for URL, it will just transform this string to what it needs to be acceptable for a URL. And on the other hand, if you have something that you got somewhere, often we get some text. Oh, that's the text I want, but it is encoded. So I want to decode it. Yeah. So that's doing the opposite. So that's what needs the most to be debugged here, all these features. And I can show you a few of them. Encode for XML. There are some characters in XML.
Yep. Yeah.
I think that this program is very powerful, John. It's very specific. It's very, very niche. If you need it, you really need it. But for the average user to figure out what, you need a course just to figure out what this can do.
Yeah, you know? and I have the same approach that I had with the time with quick access pop-up. At some time I tried to make it easy for everybody. I still want it to be easy, but I'm more thinking about power users using this application, because there's a lot of stuff that you cannot easily use if you're not aware with more advanced stuff, you know. That's so, for example, average users won't know what is an XML file, so that's for users who know what it is.
Or hexadecimal.
So in an XML file you could not have a greater than character in so it
also
will
in HTML you cannot
this character and all these that needs to be encoded in XML, and this will do the reverse. And this will encode where you can say that you want every, for example, I and S character to be encoded numerically. So the I here and the S, not sure which one. Yeah, the I and S will be encoded. Not sure if the decode works well with this.
Not yet.
They never decode. Yeah, it did.
It does.
Yeah, it did. Let's try again. So it's encoded and decode. Yes, it does.
Okay.
Encode hexadecimal. Sometime, maybe less frequently, you need to know what are the X code for this. So the X code for this is this 54, 68, 69.
What's an X code? Don't even know what an X code is.
Hexadecimal.
Ah, hex.
Yeah,
I heard.
hexadecimal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
okay,
if I convert it back here, it will return to what it was.
Right.
List ASCII code is something I don't know. Sometimes I want to know what are the ASCII codes of the string I have here. So it will just list the file, the content with each letter and its ASCII code here. Here it is a carriage return and line feed, carriage return, line feed. So if I change it back, So this is very specific. It's not something that you would do for other application, but here I have
Right.
this, and I have the 2 lines. You see, I have 2 empty
Yeah,
lines
you
here
do.
that were also converted.
Yeah.
Oh, something just popped up because of hotkey, not sure. Encode HTML entities. So let's say that this code again, it has to be encoded for HTML. It will be encoded, and the end of line will be replaced with break. And you can decode it if you get HTML and you want to return to the normal text. So you can do it by just using this command. And always, if you take this here, I copy it. Whoops, excuse me. I copy it. I open, let's say I just start from scratch, and I will always, the process is very simple. So I copy it, I open the editor, I do my change, and I paste, and it will replace what was selected before. So it's, I try to make it the minimum number of clicks or actions or steps.
I would definitely make a hotkey for the tool that when I hit it, it copies and shows the GUI. So you see the show GUI should also copy. So it should send a Control-C and show the GUI at the same time.
Yeah, but not always. Not always. Only when,
for example,
you need it. Yeah.
No, exactly. So for example, I have my
there are 3 hotkeys now. There's how to show the editor with the mouse hotkey, with a keyboard hotkey, and paste from this button here. When I'm here, let's say I just convert it back to what it was, and I'm here, I can copy it here, and it takes the content of the editor regardless what it is, and it will.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
So that's the other side. Also, there could be another hotkey for that.
Exactly.
Good point. Just to complete, PHP encoding, in PHP strings, if you have apostrophe or double quotes, they need to be doubled or escaped. So these kind of things that can be done.
How about the curl encoding that we had a problem a few months ago? What type of encoding is that, Osias?
Yeah, I'm not sure which one you mean.
Remember, we had curl and we had to escape characters. Was that URL encoding?
That's URL encoding, yes.
Okay, so awesome.
No, the one that is that's the one that is caught my attention.
The last one here added. This is in the order I created these features, so it could be reorder or grouped. But for now, it's at the end. But maybe for AHQ coders, it's very useful things.
Right.
So encode special characters for AutoHotkey. So there's no special character here. So let's take an example.
A tab,
1, 2, tab, 3, 4.
Oh, I've got to go, guys. I'll see you in about half an hour.
Bye-bye. So this will be encoded with the tick N or tick T characters. And on the other side, of course, you can decode it to return to what it was. And here it's something else. And especially going from version 1 to version 2, when you have something like this is a variable content, and so this is a v1
string
legacy syntax. You want to convert it for v1 or for v2. It will be converted to it will convert var to expression like this. Using the concatenation point that you don't use. But I think so the point is that the concatenation operand in v1 is the space, and v2 as well. So the space is already the concatenation. So but it is said that the dot is the concatenation, but it is optional. That's my understanding.
Is optional because the space is the concatenation operand in this case.
Why is there the dot? That's what I wonder.
Because at the beginning Chris thought the dot might be a
Okay.
good
Okay.
idea,
But I'm used to it. So
yeah. No, no
visually,
worry.
I like it. It makes it clear that because there's a space here that is not a
Mhm,
concatenator, you
mhm.
know. Anyway, and the reverse is done here to return from expression to var.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be
But
interesting.
this works with a very limited set of tests. When you get to real life, things happen that breaks these things,
Yeah,
and I haven't
of
done all
course.
these tests yet.
Well,
Yeah.
And that's where I make a call for beta testers just to go through that and say, I accept suggestions, of course, but I first want just to stabilize what is there and make it reliable. So that's
Basically,
if you have time to give it a try to this.
very good. This is something that
you're
Yeah,
getting a
go
lot
ahead.
of really positive feedback, Sean, in the
Yeah, I've made a
those
short
chats.
video and yeah.
this
Thomas
is a
actually
very
donated
good-
for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, I told you, like I was going, man, this is really cool.
Yeah, this is a very
At the
good-
beginning, it was really not clear what I was doing compared to the idea I had in mind, but it is getting closer to what I
Right.
had in mind now, especially having this with the minimum number of clicks or actions to do the changes you need.
I
to
will
do.
take this time, John, to tell you, for example, that you have been coding for a long time. I don't know if you're doing this with this particular function, but I would assume that you have an encode decode function, right? Is that like an encode?
We got 3 minutes, by the way.
Okay, yeah. So if you have a function, usually it's good to write tests for the function. Right?
Yeah, I've seen your video on that.
So
on
the
doing
point
test
was
cases.
at that point, you see what you're saying, like, oh, I don't have enough test cases. The good thing is that you can write a few things that you know, okay, so these are the things that I'm expecting. And then as soon as somebody tells you, oh, it broke with this kind of thing, you write the test so that now you pass that test. And that will simplify your work a lot,
and
especially when you're testing
helped
with
making
other
sure
people,
that
like,
what was working before is still working.
it's not gonna break, right? Exactly. So
Because of
basically,
the change you made to the last bug
this
report.
would be a very good example of where I would have a test for a
Yeah.
function. That's definitely the way that I would do it.
Yeah. Could you
Maybe-
remind me, maybe Joe, you had a video on that where Isaiah
Yeah.
was showing the
Right.
approach to do that?
I was
I
gonna
know this in theory, but I never applied this.
Oh no, I can even grab your code and just write a test and
Well,
just give you that.
Yeah, but you
But-
had, if I remember well, a kind of tools to help.
Hold on. So we got a switch here in our calls.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say, Jean, is let's plan a call where the three of us actually implement it, with you. So people,
Yeah,
other
it's-
people can, we can record it, they can learn how to do that process,
Good
right?
idea. Good idea.
Even if you
It's one
didn't
idea
have,
to show
even
it,
if-
but
yeah,
yeah, a real world example is a much better thing. So
like even if you didn't have the test already, we can do it, and it is easy to set up. So we can do that and show
Yeah.
it.
So I put the URL to the website of Clipboard. It's called Quick Clipboard Editor, and I put the URL of the site in the chat of the Zoom meeting if you want.
I put
to
it
take a look
in
at
several
that.
places.
And-
I have a
yeah,
pretty
good.
link to it.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Perfect.
But yeah, and John, we'll still make a video because this, we have usually a couple hundred people watch this.
Yeah, for your audience.
But-
It's,
But we'll make
and I think you have a good audience for this tool because they are
absolutely
they are
right.
coders. So
Right. Yeah.
I will use it.
That's what I said was
Yeah.
I was saying, like, it's definitely got a lot of stuff. The other thing which I know John and I talked about was maybe because that the convert one to me is one of the most powerful things, but we're going to probably need submenus in there, right? Because it's going to start to get really.
Oh yeah, and there are two other things quickly: the ability to create hotkeys that will do something automatically. And
right.
never having or even
Right.
to open the clipboard.
I would be
editor.
all over that. Yes.
Yeah.
I would say
Uh,
like you can have like a default action that the one that you have selected at that moment is the one that happens with the hotkey.
Maybe,
So yeah.
but it could be a full-fledged hotkey management like I have in AutoHotkey that could be added to that. And I forgot the other thing, but it will come back.
We should now go to the next meeting.
we gotta run.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for being here.
Thanks everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tim.
Good seeing you, Tom, and everyone, Ray and
See everybody.
Murphy
Bye,
and
guys.
Anthony. Yeah. And thanks everyone for being on the chat. We'll see you soon. Cheers.